Hello and welcome to another edition of Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. And that would make me Devlin, and I am your host of this little weekly chat fest, I guess you could call it. Basically it's me rambling on about things in my life or, pop culture. Sometimes I have a guest on. If you're a regular listener, I apologize. Last week something happened to the microphone and for some reason it recorded in mono. And it seems like people still enjoyed the episode because I got a lot of notes and little emails saying how much they enjoyed the show. So, but I think we've cleared it up today, and I am coming to you in stereo. And I have a lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to start with a segment that I'm going to call Human Nature. Human nature is, I don't know, I like to call it, how people act and react. It's a basic thing, and we're raised with it. Sometimes it's just based on instinct. And I have really learned a lot about human nature. Now, I've always believed that I really know people well. I'm a great judge of character. There has been a couple people who have basically, I may have read wrong, but for the most part, I'm pretty good at figuring out people right away. Now, I'm not trying to say I know them right away when I know them, but I can usually tell if they're, good people, generally, not very nice people or just downright crazy people. But, of course, always there's one or two that pass through the radar. Now, if you ever want to see true human nature, I suggest you have the year that I had and basically go through stuff. Go through a bad time because you will start finding out everything you did and didn't want to know about how human nature works. Even the term human nature might not be the right terminology, but that's what I'm going to call it for now. Because I have not been through hard times before. I have not, what am I trying to say? I have been through hard times before. And I've never really, I just, when I get out of them, I'm just happy to be out of them. But this one has just been such a weird one that's lasted longer than stuff. And by the way, before any of you worry about me or anything, I'm definitely getting out of this. And I think one of the reasons I'm getting out of this is because of all this human nature. Maybe some people have said you overanalyze things, and that could be true. But I think some things have to be analyzed more. I think there's way too many people in the world that just kind of write things off as, it is what it is. And I absolutely hate that statement because it's just a horrible non-committal thing. And even though I see people in the world being more committed to things, in reality, I don't really think they are committed to it. They just find easy way outs and stuff like that. Now, first of all, I am not grouping everybody together. Everybody's an individual, and I'm not going to name names either. That being said, if you're listening to this and you hear something that may be me talking about you, well, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. It's just these are my experiences. These are the journeys I am going through, and I have the right to talk about them, especially if they've affected me. And everything I'm going to talk about in this first segment has. The one thing I want to start with is I want to thank all the people who have reached out to me in this time. I don't care how much you've reached out to me, whether you've gone out and had a talk with me, or we've chatted just a little bit about things, or, you just hung out with me and we didn't talk about my problems at all. Thank you. Even if you just sent me little notes asking me if I'm okay, or just, liking stuff, or commenting on my Facebook stuff, those are great. Even little pokes to let me know you're still there are, you don't know how much it means to me. And each and every thing, from the longest letter to the biggest hug that I've gotten, to just a small little, I'm here for you, is all part of me healing. And that's all that's gotten me to the place that I am now, where I'm slowly starting to heal, and now I'm taking this mess that I was given and finding a way to use that to make me better, because that's how I work. I take crappy situations and I reassemble myself and find a way to make everything work. And I think that's what we do as humans. And again, I probably more overanalyze it. But I think I am blessed. I know I have such a support group. And I wish everybody in the world had the support group that I did, because I know there are people that don't. And you don't need that many, because if you have a couple of really good friends in your life, that's all you really need. I know I have a lot of people rooting for me, and that helps. I'll be honest, in my darkest days during all this, I know it's there, but it doesn't sink in. In hindsight now, I can look back at it and cherish all those people. And, I hope to return the favor one day. I'm a pay-it-forward kind of person. When I see people going through hard times, I'll meet them for coffee. I'll send them little notes. I know I won't be able to solve all their problems. Maybe in some ways I can solve a little bit, but I don't turn my back on people. Some of the people that came forward to befriend me were people I did not expect. And as weird as it might be, that made me smile. I had people that talked to me on the computer, looked out for me. And they're people that, might have just been, people I was acquaintances with. But I could tell they were really concerned for me and really, really wanted to help me. Of course, I have my really good friends that are always there for me. They don't always necessarily solve my problems, but they certainly make me smile a lot when we get together, and that helps. The one thing about human nature that I didn't really like is that some of the people that I thought would reach out to me are people that I was there for them during hard times. And I was very angry with these people during when I was going through this. And the reason was just because I couldn't believe that I was there. Now, I wasn't there, so one day you'd be there for me. I don't sit there and worry about it. I really didn't want to be in the place that I was. We don't predict these things. But I was very surprised the people that claimed to love me so much, and how a lot of them buried their heads in the sand or just avoided me altogether. And it hurt so much because I took time out of my life, and as I said, I don't do that thing to get it back, but I would think that there would just be a certain respect. But I remember somebody told me that just because you're strong for someone doesn't mean that they can be strong for you. As I said, I was very angry at the time, but I have worked it all out, because I realize now that just because I have a strength and I'm the kind of person that can be there for people even in dark times, I realize that some people just aren't programmed to help people out. They can say the words, but forget about any kind of actions or anything, I'll be there for you. And then when you reach out for them and they're not there, it's a little hard to grasp. But I get it now. As much as I think I'm weak when I go through these, I know it's strength. I've come through a lot of dark times in my life. As I said, some I probably will talk about, some I won't. Some I've talked to with people. But, I understand now that not everybody is as strong, and they would rather just deal with the good times in your life. I think the term is fair weather friends. So as soon as you're happy and friends, they start showing up again and hanging out with you again. I'm quite certain in this I've lost some friends too. I've been blatantly honest with some stuff, and I'm sure some people will have held me at bay now. And for those people, all I can say is I'm sorry if I freaked you out, but the truth of the matter is at least I weeded out people that, you know, if they're going to give up on you that easy, then what kind of people are they, or what kind of friends would they be? As far as I know, I haven't officially lost anyone, but I just noticed some people just kind of disappear. But that's okay, because the good news is I'm in a better place now, so all of a sudden those people are going to come out of the woodworks there and be there for me. They already have started. I'm starting to talk like Yoda. Anyhow, another situation that came up, and I hate to say that it's one that I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about. As I said, I'm not going to name names. This isn't about placing blame. This is just another situation that I learned about people during all this. Tell me, you can't really tell me, but you could send me an email and tell me your thoughts on this. Okay, all through this, I had people telling me, just be yourself. Don't be afraid to be sad in front of people. Don't be afraid to be miserable. You know, just be yourself. You'll work it out. Everything will be good. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself in your beliefs. Okay, so there was a situation where something happened on Facebook, and I'm going to be vague, very vague booking here. And basically what happened was I stood up for myself. A couple people did something that they posted stuff that I didn't agree with. So I decided, okay, this is a battle, because I choose my battles. And I posted up something. No names were revealed, nothing. And I stood up for myself. And some of the people that told me to be myself and never be afraid to speak basically got offended by it because they may have been in the wrong. That's neither here nor there. And I answered all their questions as soon as possible. I understand life gets busy, but I felt that there was a distance put. And, every time I'd respond, I wouldn't hear anything back. And I understand life gets in the way and we can't always be there, but I could have got a response like, okay, really busy right now, I'll contact you soon. The fact that I noticed that they were, still, writing on other people's things, that's neither here nor there, but apparently they were not too busy for that. So I noticed that there was a distance put, and I wanted to deal with it immediately, because I cared so much for these people. So I basically, finally I got a response, and I was shocked at the response. And so I quickly apologized for if I made them feel bad. If I made them feel bad, and if I caused them any kind of distress in any way. And they said there was no need for an apology. They were just disappointed in me. And I shared the email that I sent, standing up for myself. And I still, even though I apologized, I still stood my ground that what I did was my right to do that. I was allowed to defend my position. And even though it hurt them, I had the right to do that. And as I said, I didn't put names. I didn't, shame anyone, because I'm a big hater of shamers, which has become a really new thing that is absolutely disgusting in my eyes. So anyhow, I decided enough with this back and forth through the emails, so I called them personally, made the apology. We talked everything out to the point where everybody was kind of happy and everything, and we decided that, okay, we've gone through a rough spot. It might be a little tender for the next little while, but we cared enough for each other that we were going to work it out. the thing that disappointed me about this was that I get the feeling that one of the people involved in this was really embarrassed with what they had done, and a wise woman once told me it doesn't hurt unless it's true. And I think when I called them out, I hurt them. And when I responded to if, that Facebook status was about them, I wrote a letter that I thought was very sweet, nice, and explained that I stand up for what I did. You were always, telling me to stand up for myself, and I was, and in no way was there any negligence, but apparently they read it that way, so I did apologize, because I would never want to hurt these people intentionally. I even let a couple of people read my response, and they said that it was a beautifully written letter, and there was nothing malicious about it. But when I got my response, which, as I said, I waited a long time, I even mentioned that the anxiety was hurting me. And, if I got a letter from somebody saying, could you please respond? I'm getting anxious here. It's destroying me. I would at least write a little note saying, okay, I'll write very soon, but life has been busy. One sentence. So when I got this response, I was still standing on my ground because, as I said, all the people I let read the letter, a couple people, not a lot, had agreed with me that nothing I did was in the wrong. And that, first of all, I can't believe such a small situation blew up into something so grand so quickly. But as though we worked things out, two things stuck with me that bothers me the most. Number one, I apologize for my actions. I didn't apologize for posting what I did on Facebook because I was defending something I believed in, and I think I had the right to do that. And in fact, I know I had the right to do that. But I did apologize if my actions did hurt somebody. I never got an apology saying that their actions that made me stand my ground, if it hurt me in any way, like the anxiety of waiting for emails and stuff and dealing this. Mike got quite upset because of this, because of the fact that it was just seemed like, mental warfare. And I said, I don't think it's that bad, but I'm not feeling, in the best way right now. But also, instead of an apology, in the response letter I got, it basically blamed everything on what I was going through. That my darkness was the cause of this. That I'm not this kind of person. That I'm not usually this malicious or going out after people. And as I said, I reread everything that I had sent. There was nothing in it that said this. But everything was blamed on my depression. And that I couldn't let go. No. You can blame a lot of things on my depression, but I still don't disrespect people. I stood up for something I believed in. I still believe I had every right to. You don't get to blame this. I think there was a lot of hurt because they were reaching out to me a couple times, and they're such good friends. But you know what? Sometimes I can't talk to people because I don't know what's going through my head. And when I do have a lot of people to choose from to talk to. There might be certain people I want to talk to at the moment. That doesn't mean I can't talk to you. Depends. I could be hanging out with you and all of a sudden it could just start flowing. It's not as easy as let's go for a coffee. Unless I'm really I call you up and say, I really need to talk. So, if I turn down invitations and stuff because I say that, I'm feeling blue, I don't think I'm going to be used to anyone, it means that I believe that. It doesn't mean I'm going to kill myself that night. But the fact that I didn't even get, any kind of, I apologize for what you went through. And it was just kind of swept under the rug. Now, I love these people. I hope we do work it out. I love spending time with them. It was a bad situation. I wrote it off as human nature. And again, I was fucked up. I was fucked up because I'm always told to be myself, stand up for myself, and the first time I actually do it, this is what happens. So, when people tell you to be yourself, they're just telling you to say everything they want you to hear. Because I could never be my real self. I could never be... There is only a couple people in this world that probably know me, about 95%. But I'm telling you, most people only know me about 80%. Most only know me about 60%. But it doesn't matter, because I cannot be 100%. I've even tried friendships out. I've tried 2 friendships out recently that were all about, let's base this totally on truth. Totally on truth. Okay, well, one friendship, I stayed true, and I was truth, and they were truth, and I could handle everything they put out, and then once I hit a really dark time that they heard me, they freaked. They freaked on me. Now, they didn't walk away from me, but they freaked. And in a bad way that I was worried that I ruined some stuff, so much so that I decided I can't be truthful with this person anymore. Obviously, I have to be smiling, Devlin, and stuff like that. And the other relationship that was based on truth, I know for a fact I'm not getting truths. I'm getting half-truths. I'm getting things I want to hear. So, I keep giving truths, and then I feel awkward because I went too far, or I went this, and then they're like, no, you didn't, and then I don't feel I'm getting truth. So, human nature has saw me out of this, and I'm going to use this human nature and realize that people, all of us, and I'm not putting me as higher than all the people in the world, we're all fucked up. We're hypocrites. We think we aren't, but we are. It doesn't matter what you say or spew. One day I can see somebody saying, we need to look at the light of mental health. We need to redefine it. A couple of days later on their same page, they have, we need to kill all child molesters, rapists, and murderers. We need to kill them. Which is a total contrast to what you have just posted beforehand. You're not willing to offer help to any of those people? At least try to help? Maybe if there's a certain point you can't, then you can take care of them. But it's funny, and I'm starting to realize that. It means there's going to be a new Devlin coming your way. Some people aren't going to like it. Other people will love it, because there's still a basis of what I am. But I have to do this because this world is going to kill me. Because I keep trying to be myself because they tell me that. But when I am myself, that's when things get out of whack. So look for that coming soon. And when I say new, I always say I'm going to be Devlin 2.0 and nothing really transpires. Anyhow, that's enough of my rant on human nature. If I offended any of you while listening to this, I'm sorry. I really am. I'm not trying to do that. That's not what this is about. And if you listen to this, and at times you were like, is he talking about me? There's probably some truth in it. Because if you know that, nah, that's not me, while you were listening to it, that's fine. But if you were listening and saying, wow, I think I fall into that category, there might be some truth in it. But you know what? I love you anyway. And with that note, I'm going to wrap up this segment, which I've already gone past, and I'm going to talk about breaking a taboo on the next set. I'll talk to you then. Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to another edition of Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. We're back, and I am talking like a loon. I don't know what I'm doing. I wanted to make it look like I was one of those librarian storytellers, but I don't know if that translated. Anyhow, the reason I did that is because I wanted to tell a little story to you youngins out there. Basically, there was a time when geekism, or whatever you want to call it, love of science fiction or fantasy was not as treasured as it is today. I grew up in that era. You could be a Star Trek or a Star Wars fan, and you weren't shunned from society. But if you loved it too much, people thought you were a little weird. You know, there was a time when Doctor Who was so cult that only, if you really talked about it, people would just be like, oh, what a nerd or something. So there was this time that what now has become adored and loved, and I don't know what brought it out. I think maybe Comic-Cons helped. I think sometimes the Big Bang Theory helped. But suddenly, over the course of the last decade, comic book movies have been taken seriously. We can love Star Wars, Star Trek, all ages. We can love all kinds of science fiction. We read Harry Potter. It's okay to read Harry Potter. It's okay to read anything. I don't really like calling it geekdism but that's kind of one of the ways it was described. So suddenly, it's exploded. When you go to the Comic-Con, I went to Hamilton Comic-Con, and there was probably a time that, guys would get out of their basement and, come in, and now they can enjoy it. Video games also were seen as a childish thing, and now it's in our, not only our pop culture, but it's in our lifestyles. People in executive positions can go home and ease tension by going home and playing, but they can actually go home and talk about it now. They can be at work and say, hey, have you played, Fallout? Or have you played, Call of Duty's latest? It's now, but there was a dark time when that stuff was all stuff you just did. You didn't talk about. And I'm here to talk a little bit about the final frontier. Well, I don't know if it's the final frontier, but it's something that's slowly building, and we finally can talk about it, but it's still considered tabooish. And I can tell you, I have done it since I was in high school, and I still do it to this day. And I'm now confessing completely. I've started talking about it a little bit in life, but now I'm admitting it to all of my 17 fans out there. More, if you've joined us. I role play. Yes, now some of you dirty minds are probably thinking me and Mike, dress up as little Dutch boys or something. And I don't know, I don't know where the little Dutch boy thing came up. But no, I'm not talking about us with leather and whips and stuff. I am talking about sit down, roll the dice, act out characters role playing. Some people do it in the form of Dungeons and Dragons. There's so much BattleTech. There's, Magic, The Gathering. There's just so much. There's Marvel ones, DC. There's the Catan set. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but that settlement thing where you go and there's just so much out there. Now, this was always being bought, but now people can slowly start talking about it. There was a time if I said, oh, by the way, I was going to be doing some Star Wars role-playing later, people would look at me like rolling dice and flipping cards and stuff, and I'd say, yeah, that's what I do. So I never talked about it. You talked about it at a family event, the looks you'd get, but it's the last frontier, because I'm noticing that in the last year I've heard more and more people talking about it. Now, I do a different kind of role-playing, because I started playing, I played BattleTech and I played Dungeons and Dragons, and it was really, I enjoyed Dungeons and Dragons, but BattleTech really was the one that got me thinking, I don't like role-playing this way, I want to make my own. And so I always thank BattleTech for that. Might have been Robotech, I don't know, anyhow. But anyhow, I remember playing a whole night in this one battle, and then you'd have to see how the armor comes off and roll the dice and then this and this. And after we were finished, like a 4-hour evening, it was like, okay, 6 minutes of time passed. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? We had to roll so much. Okay, what damage? What body part? What this and that? And roll. And some people love that, and that's fine. I'm not putting down any kind of role-playing. This is all about coming out as a role player and letting the world know it's okay that I sit around a table with people and pretend I'm other people. So anyhow, I didn't like all that technical stuff. So basically, I came out with my own system, which was more acting and theatrical, which I hear is becoming a big thing now. I'm not talking about LARP. That's another thing. LARP is live action role-playing where you actually dress in costumes. I don't dress in costumes. I sometimes may change up my voice. I've played probably hundreds of thousands of characters through the years. As I said, I started in high school. And I just started creating stories. It started with a Star Wars role-playing game. Oddly, one called Star Wars Legacy, which would become a series of books. I'm still looking for one of our former role players to see if they actually stole that. No, I'm kidding. But anyhow, yeah, and we were committed to that for several years, and it became our obsession. We played it every time we could, and we grew up with it, and it was awesome. And then we've done stuff with Power Rangers and superheroes, and as I said, there is some battle parts of it. I make up a sheet and use my rolls and my cards to do it, so we have the battle aspect. Then we all kind of leave the dining room table, come into the living room, and we sit and chat and basically say, okay, my character wants to do a scene with your character, and then we act it out. We don't just say, okay, he would tell him we're going to. We would literally act it out. And it's not for everyone. I know some people who are sticklers for rules that would absolutely hate my way of doing it. But I do know some people who have converted over because they actually enjoy my way a little bit better. I've been also told my way is very therapeutic. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not trying to say here nor there. I currently play 3 role-playing games. That's a lot in my eyes, because I can usually juggle 2. But I've been lucky to do 3. I do one that's called Alien Anarchy. That's based on our own universe. It's not based on like the Alien series or anything like that. I also do one with a friend, a 2-person one. It's called Crossbones, and it's a post-apocalyptic, kind of Mad Max-ish, using cars and trucks and vehicles. And then I do another 2-person one. I do with we rebooted the old TV series Dynasty. I was a big fan of that series, and my friend said, hey, you know what? It was a great series, but it sucked in lots of ways. We should redo it. And we have, and we've done 6 years now, and I think I'm a really good storyteller from that. I've never been able to do the storytelling as in writing a book. But when I tell people I write stories, they're like, how? You don't really write. You don't this. Well, now I'm telling you, this is how I storytell. I roleplay. I've told so many stories. I've played so many characters. It even surprises me when I hit on a story and I'll just say, I don't think I've done a story like this before. Because I've done so many. And I plan to roleplay. If everybody I know gave up role-playing, I would still probably role-play on my own. I might actually write it out now. Some of our stuff we have written out, so I can go back and read it and stuff. The early days, unfortunately, we didn't, which is too bad, because we had a lot of fun. But every time I talk about the people I role-play with, they have a great memory of it. Some gave it up because, their lifestyles, they had kids or got married. But I hear now there's a whole phase of people that are, rediscovering it again. They had kids, they bought the house, and they invite friends over, crank out their old Dungeons and Dragons or their Magic the Gathering cards, and all sit around and play it again. And that warms my heart to hear there's that coming back. I also recently talked to some people that say my theatrical version is becoming more and more popular. It's not quite as far as the LARP. I was invited to be part of a LARP game once, and I listened to it. I listened to the guy trying to talk me into it for a long time, and he said, I think you'd be really good at it. And I said, the problem isn't me being really good at it. My problem is that I might really enjoy it. Because I don't mind dressing up. But I don't know if I really want to go down that route. I'm happy with the way I run things, and the three, different games that I'm playing right now with different styles. I respect the people that do the LARP. I know some people, LARP is harder to pull off to main society because all they see is that you're running around in chainmail or I'm a vampire or something, But, so that's going to be a harder sell. But I like that it's slowly, more and more people are talking about it. And I love that a lot of people are going back to it because they realize, hey, we're older now, we have some kids, we're getting creaky. Why don't we just invite some friends over and remember how much fun we had just playing those games? And I love that they're dusting off. I see it at Value Village. People come in, and every once in a while we'll get like some Dungeons and Dragons modules or some role-playing games. And you can see they're so excited to get them. And they're so excited to get their friends back because there's a certain age your kids get where they don't really want to spend as much time with you anymore. And then it's like, well, what do we do now? And you realize you just don't like going to the clubs anymore. So you invite some friends over and hang out. Talk geeky stuff because it's allowed now. So now we're moving to talking openly about role-playing, which I think is a phenomenal thing. There was a taboo about it, and I like that we're crossing that taboo because honestly, is it so weird? I think jocks have their own version of it. I think, when they do their fantasy hockey leagues or their fantasy football, I think that's a version of role-playing. Because honestly, I bet you if they could be out there playing the game as well, I think some of them would be very interested if you, found a way to... I'm sure there's got to be games that have like hockey and football where you roll the dice and you actually play the games in the season. I know fantasy is based on, actual games and players and stats, but it's still role-playing, so even the jocks have their version. But, yeah, if you were an old gamer and, maybe... Because I noticed a lot of old gamers, some of them give away their stuff, but some actually, will have an old Tupperware thing or Rubbermaid thing full of their games because, they might want to look at them, but you left them there because you wanted to bring them out again. So what I'm saying is that coming up, the holidays are coming, I know it gets pretty busy, but there's also some days you don't have. Maybe crank them open, see if you can create, invite some friends. I bet you if you openly talk about it again, you will find at least 1 or 2, 3 people who are going to be like, oh, we'd love to try that out. That sounds like fun. And who knows, you could wind up having a great evening. Could become a regular thing. I really hope so, because I find it very therapeutic. I don't know if I would survive this world if I didn't have anything. And I can't think of a time in my life where I didn't role play. 1 or 2 games. 3, this is like the most I've ever had. But I absolutely adore it. I strongly recommend it. And talk about it. Let's break this taboo. Let's be able to talk about it. Yes, I played Magic the Gathering, and yes, damn it, I'd like to play it again. I want to hear people say that. Okay, maybe not that. Actually be awesome if you're at like a cocktail party. And I sometimes hate going to some of those cocktail parties with, I'd say older people, but they're actually people my age or younger now. And, they're talking about the weather or just, things in the world. I would love if somebody just said, I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, and by golly, I'd like to do it again. Maybe not use by golly, because you might be putting yourself back into the stereotype. But just stand loud and proud, and who knows? I bet you'd at least get a couple people like, yeah, I used to play it too. You available on Sunday? I think it'd be awesome. Because I think we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it so other people will feel free to talk about it. So let's break this last taboo. Let's do that. And I see it's happening, but we gotta make it happen more. Anyhow, I'm going to take a break, and I hate to warn you, but Christmas is coming up. And I'm going to have some Christmas shopping tips basically some ideas on things you can buy. Not by me, but just for whoever you have to buy for. Just kind of going out there a little bit. Not just saying, these are the hot buys of the year. I'm going to just tell you some other ideas that you can think about for Christmas shopping. Anyhow, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back. Welcome back to my final segment here. I'm Devlin. I feel weird having to introduce myself after every segment, because I think to myself, well, people might come in late. They won't know who's talking, even though it's called the Devlin's Pirate Radio Show. But oh well. Anyhow, I'm going to say it, but Christmas is coming up. And it's hard not to deny it. The commercials are up. The stores are getting decorated. The music's starting to play on radio stations and when you hit the malls. So yes, that means it's time to start doing your Christmas shopping. And I know there's some of you probably moaning right now about how Christmas has become too commercialized. It's become all about the merchandise, and you can believe that all you want, but let's be honest. If you go back looking at old YouTube videos, it was commercialized long ago. If you want to go real back, the very first Christmas, when Jesus was in the stable with Mary and Joseph, they brought gifts. Okay, the wise men brought gifts, so this is a thing right from the beginning. They were commercializing it. They were bringing gold and stuff. That's really over-the-top gift giving. Anyhow, I know what people mean when they say it gets too commercialized, but we commercialize everything. It's not just Christmas, Halloween, Easter, everything is commercialized now. And it just rolls off my back personally, because for me it always has been that way. Yeah, I like the warm, fuzzy feeling you get at Christmas. That's my favorite part, is spending time with friends and just how the world does seem to get a little nicer for a little bit. The gifts to me is just gravy, just a little extra that makes it a little more. I like Christmas shopping. I like getting gifts and, trying to find stuff that, people will like and make them smile, because I like to see them when they open it up and think. I won't lie, I like getting gifts myself, but I actually love to see people opening up gifts. Now, some people are very hard to shop for. Some are real easy. You go into the mall and you can pretty much find tons of stuff for them. But then you've got those shoppers that, then you got those people that just impossible to buy for. And, you can easily get a gift card or stuff, but still, you got to find the right store, everything. So I'm going to just give some really little Christmas shopping tips for hard to shop for people, or maybe, some little different ideas that maybe you haven't thought of, because, you're just waiting till December 21st and 24th and jump into the store and just grab whatever you need that night. And I know people that do it. I do. They tell me. Anyhow, it's not hard to Christmas shop, even for the hardest person. People always tell me, they'll open up a gift and say, how did you know I like that? How did you know this? And the first tip is, throughout the year, listen and watch. Because basically communication, I know we've become to the point that we're so zoned out with one another, but people say things all the time like, oh, I used to love that as a child. I used to do that, as a hobby. And, there's little hints all through the year that you can take. Even people saying, oh, I'd love to get one of those. And to me, it's shocking, because people say it so often. You could even wrangle the conversation in that direction without being too obvious. Talking about a subject just to find out if that person would like that kind of gift. And, watching too, if you go out with them. And, sometimes you're in a situation where you just go out on a shopping date, maybe for a lunch or something. Watch things they pick up. Watch things they do. Maybe schedule hanging out at a mall somewhere. Because you can just easily pick up little things that they're picking up. It's just sometimes we're so wrapped up in our own lives we don't think of it. I like making little notes. People will say things and, hey, keep that in mind. That's a good note. They like that artist, that music artist. They like that style of art. Anything like that. They collect these things. So, yeah, definitely that's the big tip is to just keep your ears and eyes open, and you'll be surprised how many little hints people will give. If you're not partial to, not sure what to get them or what size they are or anything, clothes I think is always scary unless you really know their sizes and stuff, if you're a relative or if you're, dating someone. But you know what? Try different kinds of stores. You go into your typical ones. You don't have to just run into a Walmart or a Giant Tiger or Sears or something. There are lots of little independent stores. I'm always trying to plug little stores, and you can find really unique gifts for them, even if it's something more sentimental or something like that, or even just like something decorative or something that you think, oh, I think they'd like that. So always check those little stores, that, maybe you see an intriguing store that you said, I've never been in there. Go in there and look around, and you might be surprised that they might have something, different and unique. Yes, some people will cherish those unique things. Other people will say, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? But you know what? You made an effort to be different. You tried to find something touching. So that's really not your fault if you get something like that. Memories are always a good one to tag onto too. I tend to like, if you know somebody who's not like a movie fan, or like they like going to the movies but they don't collect movies or something, remember a movie that you went to go see with them and then pick it up for them. They might not be a collector of movies, but you'd be surprised that they might pop it in and it'll remember a really good time. Or if they mention, oh, I used to watch that with my parents or something. I think a memory is a wonderful thing to buy for a gift. If somebody says, oh, I used to love that stuff. My parents played that music all the time, grab them a CD or get them like a music card to, download for them. It's really nice. Getting creative is always good. It's not for everybody, but if you can make something, it's always a good thing. I don't care if it's like I was going to say a mixtape, but I don't think many people are using cassettes anymore. But you can always, you burn a disc for someone. I know, there's legal and copyright issues, but if you're just doing something, you could almost make a sampler disc for something. I always liked learning about new music and artists that I don't know about, and a lot of the times I learn about them from other people. So if I got a sampler disc, it usually makes me listen to it, and then I wind up going out and buying more from that artist. And it's a wonderful way, everybody thinks of the mixtape as just like, sappy and stuff, but it doesn't have to be. It's like, I noticed you listen to this kind of music. Why don't you try this? It's similar. And if you don't like it, it's not like you're forced to play it all the time. You just give it a listen and that's it. The making stuff, there's lots of stuff on Pinterest and all over the web that you can get ideas for people. Some people don't like getting stuff that's made from them. I think it's very sweet. I think it took time, even if it's like a letter or a card that somebody handwritten. I used to write personalized cards quite often to my family and really close friends. I don't do it as much now because I think they started taking it for granted. So now I send my notes when I have to send them. But no, I really absolutely create something. Write a poem for someone, paint for someone, if you knit or create, you do that. It's a wonderful idea. I also like those ones, if somebody likes to cook, I like where you can get a recipe and put it on a card, like one of your personal recipes, and you can give it to them. Or you could actually get the ingredients and put it in a basket or put it in a jar or put it in a thing. And then you kind of put a bow on it and put a receipt. Now, I have never done this, but I think that's a unique idea. Because sometimes we have recipes and, somebody will try the cookies and, oh, those were great cookies. But it's more that not only you gave them the recipe for it, but I love that here's all the stuff. So when you're ready, go and make these cookies. I think it's a wonderful idea. And, as soon as they realize how well they made them, they will go out and keep making them. So be creative. That can be a way to go. As I said, listening is always a good way to do it. I think the greatest gift you can give somebody is time. I think giving your time is probably just the most important thing, because I've said it over and over on this show, just how much we waste time, or we just don't have any to give people. And you can always squeeze out time for someone. And I think gifts that are related to time are a wonderful thing. Now, what I mean by that is buy concert tickets for a specific date. Buy one for you and one for your friend or one for your relative or your loved one or whatever. And that basically not only says, hey, we've got a concert to go to. We are going to go to it together. We are going to spend time. Maybe we'll go out for dinner that night or something. Now, concert tickets can get pretty pricey, but there's lots of different concerts. I'm not talking like just big celebrities where you're paying a couple $100 for a ticket. I'm talking about like, classical music, the Hamilton Philharmonic, or you could even find smaller venues that, there's a band playing here, so I'm going to, pay for your drinks that night or something. Or theater tickets. Lots of great theater around, and usually they're advertising it early enough. And if tickets aren't on sale, then you can easily buy, like just write like an IOU or make a fancy little thing that says, when the tickets come out, I will get us 2 tickets and we're going to go to this show. Because it's nice, put it in a card or something. I think it's just a wonderful idea. If you're going to get a gift certificate, for a favorite restaurant or something, again, put a date in the thing and say, I wanted to get you a gift certificate, but instead I'm going to take you out for dinner and we're going on this date. We will pick a date immediately. Because that's the thing. Everybody wants to spend time together, but nobody will send dates. It's when you start getting dates sent to you that's when people really want to spend time with you. So, set a date that night and say, okay, we are going to go out to try this new restaurant that you've been wanting to try. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think time is such an important thing, and it shows the person, not only have I gotten you a gift, but it's one that we can share together. Yeah. Same with, like if a movie's coming out. Maybe tickets aren't on sale yet. Put a thing saying, when this movie comes out, we're going. This is the date we're going to go. We'll do dinner beforehand. It doesn't have to be something expensive. You can, although a night at the movies certainly can be expensive now. But it's just a way of saying, not only do I want to give you something, but I want to spend time with you. And as I said, that's a wonderful gift you can give anyone. Just book an adventure. Just book a day. Just open up a card with a date on it. And just say, I don't know what we're doing that day, but we're going to have an adventure that day. And as we get closer to the day, we are going to go on it. That would be so amazing. Just nothing planned. Just wait until you get closer and then see what's going on in your city or maybe out of the city, Get some tickets to, I don't know if you can do prolonged tickets, but I'm just saying, get some bus tickets to Toronto or something and just plan a night, with some friends and just say, okay, I got us the transportation. We're going to go there. There's so many things you can do. And you're only limited by your own imagination. And, you know, now, again, a lot of this is revolved around money, which says, yes, yes, Christmas is commercialized and very materialized. But as I said, spending time with someone is as simple as sending him a card and saying, let's do something on this date. I know it doesn't sound like much, but if money is hard for you to get, you could do something quite nice. Like, one of my favorites is, for one day a month, every day of that month, you write something you like about your friend. You put it in a nice book or something like that, and you write just something that makes you smile about that person. And then at the end of the month, or when you're ready to give it, they open and they have like 31 things that you love about them. Yeah, I know some people are going to say it's corny, it's cheeseball, but you know what? It's also very sweet. And for some people, that means the world. You know, have a jar where you have great, like if you spend time with a person and, you know, maybe you had a big laugh, write it on a piece of paper, throw it in a jar, and every time you guys have a great time, put it in a jar. And then one night, you know, have a little wine or your favorite beverage, whatever you want, crank that jar open, and it'll just be moments of a good time, and you can just sit and talk about it. And, you know, that costs very little, you know, just get something to put it in. And again, corny stuff, but I think it's kind of sweet. The biggest tip, as I said, I'm going to say is letting people know, I want to spend time with you. You know, I remember I used to give gifts to friends, and the only time I'd really see them is at Christmas to give a gift. And I always thought it was kind of weird. And as much as I loved getting the gift, I thought to myself, you know, I would exchange this gift for like 2 or 3 days of your time in the year. Well, some people I'd want even more. But, yeah. So just kind of open your mind up for Christmas, you know, and those hard to shop for people won't be so hard to shop for. Anyhow, I hope I helped you in some way. I'm looking forward to the holidays. I've pretty much got most of my Christmas shopping done. And I've got little pieces here and there, but I'll knock it out of the way. And I am looking forward to further broadcasts with you. And I'm getting ready to head out. Thank you for listening. It means so much that you gave your time to me. See what I did there? Brought it back around to time again. Anyhow, this has been a very emotional episode all over the place, and it's time to wrap things up, and I will talk to you again very, very soon.